Before we dive into today's episode, I really want you to hear me when I say this. It's okay if you don't know what you don't know. I never intended to become a business owner, and now I've been doing this for over a decade. And along the way, I have met some amazing mentors who have taught me pivotal things and lessons. And most of the time, to be honest with you, what I thought I needed and what I actually got were two different things. And Veronica was one of those people for me. And I want you to head on over to Instagram right now. I want you to pull it up. I want you to go find her. Her name is Veronica Romney, and her handle on Instagram is V Romney. So VROMNEY. And you can find me as well at Heather Chauvin. Veronica, I don't know. I met her through a referral. Somebody connected us because I was like crying in fetal position and sent a friend a message, like a text message. And she's like, you need to meet Veronica. And so I met Veronica and we had a conversation, and I think our values were very aligned, where she wasn't trying to sell me on anything. She truly wanted to solve my problems. Business foremost, especially if you're a woman and you are making an impact in the world, like you care, right? You absolutely care. And she was like, 100%, the challenge and problem that you have, I solve all day, every day for women in your exact same position. I trusted her. I supported her. Then I joined her mastermind. It was a $30,000 mastermind at the time. The price may have increased. And I jumped all the way in. And I did the work, and I showed up. And many times I cried in fetal position again. I'm telling you this because this whole point of the series is to pull back the curtains, not only about these quote unquote experts and people that I'm interviewing, but also about my own journey through business. I think too often we're expecting this to be simple, or we make one investment and we're like, oh, that's a one and done. My life is going to be perfect. As you do less better and attract more profit in your life and your business, time, money, and energy, you reinvest those resources, the time, the money, and the energy back into yourself and back into your business. That is where the magic happens. Veronica was one of those people that really helped me step more into my visionary role and see my value. And although I have not fully solved all the problems that her mastermind was set out to do, I'm telling you right now, I am more confident. And I feel more confident in my next level. And I know that as time grows, I will grow into it. I'm telling you this because so often people invest in things and feel like it didn't work because they didn't get the exact thing out of it that they thought they were going to get. And I'm telling you to surrender. Listen to this woman. Every word that comes out of her mouth is worth like gold. It's priceless. So let's dive in. Hello, Veronica.
Hello.
I am so excited to have this conversation with you. I'm going to gush on you and you're going to love it, especially that we have it on recording. You've been such a pivotal mentor in my life when it comes to the topic that we're going to talk about today, which is really stepping into your visionary role and allowing your team to support you and having the right people in the right seats and all the things. Such a game changer. You're like a little lifesaver.
Listen, I'm not, words of affirmation are my love language. So there will never be a part of me that's like, no, stop gushing over me. I can't take it anymore. Go forth.
So the theme for this series is mastering the art of doing less better.
Yeah.
I feel like the male brain and the female brain do this very differently. We're designed and wired to be able to manage a lot. Mm-hmm. But in a business, that is not going to be profitable for you. So what do you see as the biggest challenges for your clients when it comes to being a visionary and they're hiring the right
people? Okay. So let me just give context to the kind of people that I work with. I work with online centric CEOs, right? So these are entrepreneurs that literally eat what they hunt. They are not funded. They were not showered with money. They've had to do everything from literally zero. Every skill, attribute, ability that they've gained has been through like YouTube University, self-education, or just learning how not to do something. And so, and I'm, by the way, I'm one of those as well. So this is coming both from a place of empathy, but also from what I do in my kind of coaching consulting capacity as well, running programs for CEOs and their marketing teams as well. When you're working with a CEO who has not been gifted with buckets of cash, our self-identity and worth get very quickly tied into our level of productivity and output. And we pride ourselves in how much we can achieve in a little bit of time, because we've had to earn that right. We've cried the tears, we've sweated the sweat, like we have felt the refiner's fire. And so now that serves you to a certain point and to a certain revenue size. And then all of a sudden, all of those amazing things that got you so far are the things that are holding you back and sabotaging your business, right? Which is really, really hard for the system to understand because it was so rewarding and it was so giving for so long. And now you're telling me all of those amazing things that I love about myself is now not serving me and hurting me. What kind of like witchcraft is this? You know, that's not fair.
Yeah.
But it's the truth, right?
Okay. I had to stop the recording there. I'm going to be doing commentary in between this conversation, but I wanted you like to pay attention to that. She's like, what got you here is not going to get you to your next level. And essentially the strength of what got you here, which most startups were grit and determination. And that is what it was for me. I was building a business out of fear. I needed financial freedom. I needed to make more money. I didn't have the privilege not working. And I was also really passionate about what I did. So I took all the action that was required, and I will take action. But I'm telling you, ladies, like you get to a certain point in your business and your life where not only do you burn yourself out and you don't want to take action, but it's no longer serving you. It's actually running your business into the ground. But here's the other point I wanted to make. Regardless if it's business or not, this is the exact same thing with children. This is what I talk about on my parenting podcast and when I'm supporting people when it comes to parenting. It's all connected. You finally get this moment of clarity with your kids and everything like is going as planned, and then bam, another developmental phase, and you're like, WTF, like I thought I just figured this out. So you're actually going to hear themes of this in all of the interviews that I'm doing. And I want you to know you are not alone. And if shame is coming up for you of like, what am I doing wrong? That is typically the emotion that's sabotaging us from breaking through to our next level. So just feel it, put your hand on your heart and say, hey, shame, hey, guilt, hey, overwhelm, hey, fear of not being able to figure it out by yourself, right? I think sometimes our feminism and patriarchy is swung a little too far and we're like, I'm a strong, independent woman, but that coping strategy is not going to get us to the next level. So just surrendering a little bit, opening your heart and saying, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay not to know how to get to the next level. So I just wanted to share that with you. All right, let's get back.
Right. And so when I see CEOs hold on for far too longer than they're supposed to versus learning the art and gift of delegation and distribution to other players or other things in the business, that's usually where I step in because they're like, I just want to burn it all down. This is just not what I thought it was going to be.
So what I heard you say is I like talking about that identity piece, but you're getting a lot of validation for your energy output. And, you know, people look at you and they're like, look at your grit, look at your determination, look at your perseverance. And I came to you in a point where I grew to 7 figures and I was like, I don't know what I don't know at this point. I will continue to be gritty because I have children to feed and bills to pay and family to take care of. So like not an option for me. So usually then people start doubling down. Mm-hmm. And then when we're forced to delegate, I'm using air quotes, you've waited too long or you're growing. Let's talk about that emotionally uncomfortable of like hiring and firing as a leader. Like, I just remember going, like, not being in denial that I was a visionary. I understood that, but really embodying it and then being like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to deal with that, like, like identity shift. But then I have to like hire people, put them in the right spots, coach them, lead them. It's a big shift. So what do you do there? You're like, okay, now you're the visionary hiring. Like, there's so many blocks around that.
And keep in mind too, the nature of the business that you're running. So like, if I was owning an HVAC company, air conditioning company, my identity wouldn't be like, I'm the air conditioning girl. No. But when you are running a business that is tied to your expertise, your thought leadership, or something that you've learned, then you now feel the calling, the tap on the shoulder to then bring that to others who are struggling with things that you've had to overcome. 100% it's your identity. It's your story. It's like the foundation of who you are. And you're definitely no exception to that. Like, look at what you've done, the book that you've written, the adversity that you overcome. You are one of the most qualified human beings to make somebody get out of their discomfort by making them more discomfort. You're so good at calling people out. It's so
emotionally,
fantastic. Yeah. But you've qualified yourself, or life qualified you, and it didn't win. You won. And so now you want to pay that forward, right? So of course it's part of your identity. So then anytime that you bring somebody to that party, to that table, you're asking somebody for a piece of you. And it's wildly uncomfortable, especially in the marketing or sales area, which is more my specialty, because like CEOs don't really have an issue letting go of their bookkeeping and their customer service inbox. Like, no thanks, not sexy to begin with. But where the CEOs will like white knuckle grasp and grip is usually on the marketing and the sales side, because you'll never be me. I know it. You know it. So good luck. And that's where I step in. That's usually the area of the business where my CEOs are the most burdened by themselves.
All right. I had to stop here because everyone I work with, we work on your personal life while also working on your professional life. So you may need that marketing lead attraction strategy, or you may need to develop your sales skills. And we work on that in my Attracting Profit business program. But here's the thing I want you to see. How we do one thing is almost how we do everything. I didn't create that quote. That's like a well-known paraphrasing quote that I'm using. But when you think of it through this lens, control, right? Women have diverse brains. We are actually hardwired to be able to multitask. But multitasking is not something that we should wear as a badge of honor. But I want you to think about this invisible mother load that we carry, this invisible woman load, and how it's glorified culturally. But we're kind of upholding that belief, or that belief of like the invisible load that we carry by trying to control everything and not delegating. So when I started to delegate, and I'm going to like share personally, when I physically started to delegate, like somebody like doing the laundry or cleaning the toilets, it was incredibly emotionally uncomfortable. And I would hire them for a week, and then I would be like, oh yeah, you can come in a few more months. And like, I wasn't consistent with it because it was emotionally uncomfortable. And over time, you learn the art of delegation. But what the interesting part of what Veronica taught me is it's not just about outsourcing. I tell people, be careful that you're not outsourcing your resistance. Like, you're not just trying to throw money at a problem. Because what she's talking about is who you need to become as a founder, as a visionary. And that is all about leadership. That is you stepping into your power so that when you are delegating and someone says, I don't know how to do this, you're not going in and rescuing them. and doing their work for them. You are stepping into your power as the coach, as the leader. And that is where the magic happens. And that's what I talk a lot about, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you are burning out, chronically overwhelmed, there's definitely a control challenge there, but you're probably doing it in your home as well. All right, let's continue the conversation.
Okay. So we've hinted and chatted about it a little bit, but let's talk about like the duality of how visionaries or CEOs or founders, like this whole conversation is about attracting profit, time, money, and energy. So how they actually take profit away from themselves, and then what is required, like what you see from the successful ones that go through your process or transformation to attract more.
Okay. So the thing that got you to the place of success was you not hiding behind the scenes, was you actually like telling everybody and anybody about what it is that you're doing, right? So like you coming out with your podcast for the first time, you doing all these episodes. Okay. Well, as the business grows, again, you're being validated for telling your story. You're being validated for sharing hard things and like giving hope and inspiring people that are currently in their hard, right? So that's very rewarding. But as the company grows, as money comes in, so does the enormous onslaught of admin and things that go into running the company, right? So like the artist that wants to start a business realize they're no longer doing their art, right? They're now running the mechanics of the business. So same thing. Now, all of a sudden, my beautiful CEOs are doing all the roles. They are the social media manager. They are the copywriter. They are the marketing tech. They are the designer, the this, the that. I mean, they're all the things. And where they start to really stunt their growth is the more the company demands in doing behind the scenes, the less you are in front of the curtain talking about its mission, its vision, its everything. So one of the things I tell my CEOs when they first start working with me is like, how well are you taking care of your visionary KPI? And they're like, what the hell is a visionary KPI? I'm like, well, everybody in your business should hopefully have key performance indicators. You hire a social media manager, they should hopefully be increasing your followers, and some leads would be great, right? But every player on the team, including the boss, including the CEO, should also have key performance indicators. And one of the strongest, most directly correlated to revenue production is the number of times our CEOs are advocating and sharing the mission and vision of the company forward. We still see people like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, even at the highest levels, still being that visionary spokesperson for their companies because it works. It's a huge part of their stock evaluation. It's no different for privately held companies. The more that Heather is in rooms or on calls or on video talking about what she does with the conviction and the passion because it was self-generated and birthed by her, the more the company is relevant and seen and accessible to more people. But if you keep hiding yourself behind the scene, getting in the busybody of the project management system or Slack or your inbox, the more you are personally now responsible for stunting your revenue generation.
Boom. Which is counterintuitive or counterproductive to your actual mission.
Yep.
So not only it's like, and if you can't get out of that like the weeds of that, like calling yourself out doesn't need to be all or nothing, but just being like, okay, great. Well, this work's got to get done. Yeah. But what's the action that you're going to be taking for the future, right? Yeah. To fill that seat. Okay, let's go to the other side. So you see people who are greatly successful at this. What are they doing that the other people aren't doing?
Well, they're relinquishing, they're letting go. Like, so one of the first things that we do is we do this little exercise called the shed list. Basically like literally spit out on a piece of paper, all this stuff. We swear on your podcast? Can I swear on your podcast? Okay, great. Like vomit out all the shit that you do as a CEO in your business. Like
that's literally. Not swearing, by the way. Saying vomit out all the shit, not actually swearing.
I felt spicy, so I went there.
Oh, that was like the extra mild hot sauce that you would get at like McDonald's or something.
Listen, I'm working on it. Yes, I have all my CEOs vomit out all their shit on a piece of paper. And it's not like a food journal. Like I just need you to like literally, because sometimes none of us are aware of literally all the things that we do for our families, all the things that we do for like, we just we're not even conscious because we're just doing it. Yeah. So like get it all out. And then you very quickly realize, okay, who is this serving? Is it serving the customer? Is it serving the company? Is it serving the prospect? Is it serving you? Who the hell is this activity serving? Mm-hmm. And I can very quickly identify that, like when the bulk of the list is not serving the audience, the public, the prospective person, we have a serious problem.
You want to know what those actions are serving?
Tell me.
Your fear.
This is where you and I this is where your work complements my work because you go internal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is the good shit because okay, so then how do you show up? So they're on the other side. They're like, oh, surrender. Okay, I surrender. I delegate. Mm-hmm. I know from experience that bringing somebody on and then I'm like, Okay, that wasn't done. Okay, ooh, it wasn't done the way I want it. And then all of a sudden, my perfectionism is getting worse.
Yeah.
Everything is getting bigger and bigger and messier.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. It's like when people go, I'm not a micromanager. I'm like, bullshit. Every single person, and me included, all of us are micromanagers. It's just whether or not that part of ourselves gets triggered. All of us have it. So like, yes, when I see that simple details have not been caught, I instantly get like sweaty. I'm like, wait a minute. If this that is so obvious was not caught, what else has not been caught that is not so obvious and then like, daylight, right? And then that micromanager part wants to come in and go, wait a minute. So all of us have that element. All of us have that person inside of us. And it's just whether or not we've constructed a team that tends to trigger it more often than not. Because then we talk about like fear, but also talk about like psychological safety. You don't even feel safe anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And so like we need to feel safe. So when you're first starting out and building a team, it is messy and you're going to get it wrong more often than right. It just is. I mean, like, remember like when you first became a parent, you're like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, I don't even know how you're alive right now, but like, I'm figuring it out. And then like, you're steaming the pacifier and it hits the ground. And then by like your third kid, fourth kid, you're like, screw it, you lick it and give it back. Like, it's just, there is something about team management that does come with repetition and comes with the reps. But, and also I think the skill in hiring the right people to complement you is also cannot be undermined or minimized either. Like not all people are created equal to their abilities and skills and are matched for the task at hand. But you are also very, very unique. Heather is unique. Veronica's unique. The dream team for me would not be the same dream team for her.
And it's so weird how everything is connected because if I look at like how I have grown in the last year, just internally as like a leader and going, oh, I need this now. And even watching myself with my family is fascinating because I'm like, I'm a manager, I'm a supervisor. Like, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty anymore. My husband's like, why? And I'm like, because that's not where my time is best served. And it helps everyone, right? Like, but this is that emotionally uncomfortable growth. Most of the time when I hear people, I'm like, it's not like you need to outsource everything. It's this intuitive dance between test it out, see if it's going to work. It's like any other relationship. Are they coachable? Are they trainable? What is your perspective of like hiring for, I've heard this, hiring for the soul, teaching for the role?
Yeah, that's a cute one.
What I mean is the personality. Like, okay, I want to get in this conversation with you about outsourcing resistance because I told you this before. That I came into your world and I was like, I fucking hate marketing. Okay.
And it hurt me. Yeah.
That's a swear word. Okay. I hate marketing. It's just, I love sales. I hate marketing. Yeah. And because I love sales, because that to me is almost like coaching. Like that's the transformation, the intimacy. Yeah. But I kept saying that I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. So guess what? I'm gonna have a lot of resistance to it. And then, I need to hire somebody who can do that full time. Okay, great. So I'm gonna outsource my resistance instead of co-creating with that person.
All right. So I'm being vulnerable here. And you heard me talking about resentment and how I was starting to resent my business. And I want to tell you that I also had personal stuff going on in my parenting and my personal life. And what I see time and time again with the women that I personally attract is the correlation with what is happening and their personal satisfaction at home and how that's showing up in their business. And if you are having a personal challenge at home, could be your children's behavior, it could be in a marriage, it could be with your health, it could be extended family, it could be something, it could be the chaos in your home, not feeling seen, heard, understood, feeling trapped, whatever it is, I'm going to tell you right now, 110% that is affecting your profit in your business. And if you don't clean it up, if you don't look at it, it's going to manifest and blow up in your face. Why am I telling you this? Because I don't think a lot of people talk about this. And although I was challenged in a parenting capacity and things are gaining momentum now, my business just happened to be growing at the exact same time. I was thriving as a human. Like I was really thriving. So I had the mental endurance and resilience to be able to push through that. I had the team around me to be able to support me. But of course, every growth. Every new level, you learn like where your energy leaks are. And in hindsight, if I would have just not resisted something for so long and solved the problem, when that parenting thing came up, I would have had more capacity to deal with it. I wasn't in a crisis state by any means because I learned that lesson a long time ago. But I'm telling you right now, what you resist will persist and grow bigger. So if that's your business and something is not working, hire help, because you gotta figure shit out. And if you're like, well, I don't know who to hire, just wait till the end of this episode and I'll tell you how I might be able to support you.
So I'm just curious your perspective on, because everyone's like, delegate. You don't like it. It's not your strength. Don't do it. But there's a fine line between it's still your business. You still have to like co-create and train this person.
Yeah.
Rather than like, yeah, you just do it. You're the expert.
And maybe, so the first story that kind of comes to mind is like back when I was in the corporate world, right before I went buck wild and decided to be an entrepreneur. There's a huge difference in how I was able to thrive when I had a manager that knew a lick of what it is that I do and I nerd out on, versus the manager that was like, you're assigned to me, but I don't know shit about what you're doing. And I've had both multiple times, both male and female. So like, even if you're like, marketing's not my jam, I don't like, what is marketing? Marketing is like coddling the lead to then hand it over to the salesperson. So the salesperson gets the glory to close, right? Like that's really like our job is to generate the lead, nurture the lead, get as many sales objections out of the way as much as we can up front, and then hand it off for it to close. So it's a lot of coddling and nursing. And you're rocking that baby as much as you can. And it has patience. There's patience to it, right? And it's funny because like in online marketing, we just like, you read the sales page once and you have 24 hours to buy. It's like so different. In like corporate world, there's like the sales cycle or the marketing cycle is like months, right? Mm-hmm. But it's courting and it's coddling and it's all the things. So I can understand why it's like not your jam, because you're like, I just want to get to the meat of your problems, But if you have that type of attitude towards this discipline, the person that's even going to take it off your hands is going to feel that energetically 1000%, that like the thing that I'm doing for the business, you have a disdain for. Like I remember when I worked at a company as a director of SEO and PPC, so services, we were doing digital marketing services at a software company, and our CEO hated it. He's like, he straight up told the chief above me, he's like, I hate what this division does. I don't even know why we have it. We're a product company. Why are we doing this? Mm-hmm. And I just got hired on as a brand new director of SEO and PPC. And I'm like, shit, my CEO hates my existence. Like that sucks. And then this is because, just karma, Taylor Swift karma. My division had the highest profitability above the software products. So, and then all of a sudden he liked it because the investor's like, what is this? This looks really good on paper.
Yeah.
Take that. But anyways, but energetically, yes. Like when you have such a disdain for the thing that even when somebody's taking it from you, you still have to be a leader for them. So like, okay, let's take kids' example. Like, I don't like Pokemon. I don't like World of Warcraft or Minecraft or any of that shit. I really don't. I have 2 boys. I didn't get any girls. I bought a furry one, but like, I don't like that stuff. But if my kids knew and felt how much I had a disdain for the things that they're super excited about, what kind of relationship do we get to have now? It's no different.
Okay. I'm like unpacking this for myself in my head, because I will tell you, it was because I waited too long. Mm-hmm. So I was now resentful towards my business. Mm. And in a relationship, like I tell people all the time, it could be parenting, partnership, whatever. If someone's like, hey, I got to do this now. I just did something on social about that the other day. I'm like, I wasn't resentful that I had to change my plan because I'm constantly filling myself up. That little bucket in my business, I resisted because I didn't know how to solve the problem. And if I would have looked into it a year before, it would have flowed and it would have been easier. And now I'm back to this place where I can honestly say, I don't quote unquote hate marketing. And what I love about that aspect of my business is I get to co-create with people. I get to bring my creative or like have meetings with them as the integrators are doing the work. But when you're doing something in your business and now you're becoming resentful towards your business, no shit. No wonder why your profit isn't increasing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we definitely see that. So when my beautiful CEOs come to me and they're at such a deep place of either resentment or, which is the more aggressive side of burnout, like when they're burned out or resentful, then what we tend to see in their managerial style is dumping and running.
Yeah.
They're getting as far away from the fire as they possibly can. But the person, even if the person was spectacular, their resume was sexy, you pulled them off the shelf, you can't believe it. What a score of a personnel that you just hired. You still dumped and ran, and they're still not supported. And at the end of the day, people are just social creatures. Like we need, as much as we need the professional tools, we need emotional tools as well to be successful, to be cared about.
Yeah. I remember having a conversation with a business owner, a woman, about a month ago, and we were talking about sales and the person on my team that supports with sales. And she's like, I need one of those. And I'm like, this is not something you go pull off the shelf. I'm like, I'm going to give you behind the scenes of what it took for me to invest in her time, money, and energy so that she could become who she is today. So that then that day when I'm like kayaking with my family and she's generating revenue, like it's not just pull something off the shelf and go the dump and run. There's integration, which is why we should not make these decisions when we're in a crisis state because we've waited too long.
No, 100%, 100%. And I think that's the teeter tot of hiring. When do I hire? I get that question all the time. With like, do I try to anticipate the onslaught of more revenue and more things? So like, I'm hiring this person to create a bigger wave, or do I wait for the wave to be huge? Where like now my CFO is not giving me crap because the money is there for us to hire this person. So like, I get that question a lot of the time, and unfortunately, part of that is intuition. Part of that is like running your numbers and the forecasting. So that's like the logical side. But then like just emotionally speaking or intuitively speaking, like, are you ready to ask somebody to do something with you? Like, it's like almost like dating. Like, are you ready to date? Have you ever heard that like great advice where like, you know that you're ready to get married when you are the kind of person that you'd want to marry? Have you ever heard that before? Isn't that beautiful?
That's beautiful. I've never heard that.
So I kind of feel like that way when it comes to like managers. It's like you're ready to hire someone when you're the kind of manager that you wish that you would have had.
Yeah.
You know?
Becoming. All right. Veronica, where can people find you? Podcast?
Oh yeah, I do have I forget. I don't. You're so good at identifying as a podcast host. I don't know if I'm there yet, but yes, I do have a podcast called the Rainmaker Podcast, and it's pretty fantastic.
Okay. And you also have, like, you're just really good at giving little, like every time I watch, I know you're not on social a lot, but every time I watch your reels, listen to an episode of your podcast, like I learn so much. It's like the little nuggets that just get you closer and closer to clarity. So where else can people find you? You also have amazing resources on your website as well.
I do.
Before you even get to your resource, I just want to tell everyone, I had a conversation with you before starting working with you. Mm-hmm. And you were like, here's my free resource. And I'm like, this is free? Mm-hmm. Like, this is free. So tell everyone what it is.
I have lots of things. I have lots of goodies in the goodie bag. I have hiring kits. I have a whole bunch of stuff that can take it off your plate. But yeah, I'm literally everywhere as just Veronica Romney. So veronicaromney.com, V Romney on social media. And if you can't remember the word Veronica, definitely remember the word Rainmaker, because that's me.
Perfect. I love you to pieces.
Oh, XOXO.
And I'm going to keep bugging you.
Okay, I'll kiss you in the face later. Okay, bye.
There you have it. Veronica is a woman you need to know. So I really encourage you to check her out at veronicaromney.com or Rainmaker. I think it would be like rainmakerresidency.com. She told you all the things. And that's it. That's all I got for you today. I would love to know your biggest takeaways. You can take a screenshot, tag me at Heather Chauvin on Instagram. And if you are one of those women that's sitting there going, WTF, like I need to outsource, I need to hire, I don't know who to hire, I don't know how to attract more profit, time, money, and energy in my life. I got to figure out my personal shit. I got to figure out my professional shit. I need sales skills. I need lead attraction. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. Then I'm going to encourage you to head on over to Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/business and fill out the application or get on the interest list, because we are opening our next cohort for attracting profit. And this is curated for you. It is a hybrid coaching program. You get one-on-one, you get group, you get all the things. You are not a number here. You are a soul having a human experience, trying to make an impact in the world by generating revenue and doing all the things. It's not for the faint of heart. That is for sure. So heatherchauvin.com/business and get your booty on the wait list.